1 minute until showtime.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I think one more time ought to do it. Just one more time. Oh, much better. Very good. Congratulations. I am pleased.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, from the world's most famous beach, from where beach racing began, it's the Legends of Racing radio show. Live from racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill in Ponce Inlet, Florida. The Legends of Racing radio show. And your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh,
Yay!
well,
Yay, Buzz!
we appreciate that. My mother would be so proud. You
Yeah,
know?
she would.
Absolutely. Well, we thank everybody out there for tuning in and giving us a little bit of your time, and we thank everyone here today. And it's just about a perfect day today, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
feels good. Nice little breeze, not too much humidity, and worked out pretty well.
I don't have anywhere better to be. This is just gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
And-
this worked out great.
And I'm glad to be here.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Well, we're glad you're here, too. That's for sure. Yeah, this fella here, he was a driver, and dirt track mostly?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, modifieds?
Modified. I started out in the modified. We ran late model, modified. I ran in Atlanta at one time in the Southern Sportsman 300
Really?
back in '76.
Uh-huh.
And then we actually entered the Permatex race down here at one time and
No kidding.
had problem, didn't make it.
Uh-huh.
But we were trying. But I'm mostly dirt track and Southern style kind of fella.
Yeah, there you go. There's not much better than that, that's for sure. And then he became a racetrack owner.
Yeah.
And so he had both sides of the fence
Awful.
there.
I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it, but yeah.
Yeah.
We started racing let's see, I started racing, actually, my daddy started in '59 at Thunderbolt Speedway, which is in Valdosta for many years, and grew up around racing. I started racing in 1970 in the open wheel modified cars. Then some of my buddies got together up about 74 or 5. We were talking about let's buy the track, but it was in '75. I wound up. It's kind of like Mama used to say, "We shot a bear, but Pa killed him." My buddies backed out, and I wound up buying the track in September of '75.
Is that right?
Yeah, so
I'll
worst
be darned.
mistake I ever made.
Oh,
Worst
no.
mistake.
Oh, this is Mr. Louis Radney, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, we thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So now Valdosta had two speedways then,
Yeah,
right?
did. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I bought Thunderbolt in '75. Had the first race of mine in September of '75. But prior to that, Thunderbolt had opened in '59. About 62, 63, several businessmen got together there in Valdosta and opened up the I-75 Speedway. They competed Thunderbolt in '75 for a while, and finally the owners of '75 went to the Cowarts, who owned Thunderbolt at the time, and paid him to shut it down for 5 years. And they also made him a partner in the deal, and he actually ran the '75 Speedway.
Is that right?
Yeah, for 5 years. So at the end of 5 years, he went back and opened Thunderbolt up as North Valdosta Speedway. And so then when I bought it in September of '75, I had to go get permission from the fellows that owned '75 to get the Thunderbolt name back.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so that's how we
Wow.
went back to Thunderbolt. And I was at Thunderbolt from '75 till I had the last race of November '99.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, what became of the property?
I still there's no shop on the property that we used to do the tear downs in. and I live on the other end, and some of the high-dollar folks live in the other part.
Oh, there you go. Good high-dollar neighbors.
Good high-dollar neighbors, yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm close to them. I just never did make it.
That's fun.
Oh, that's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
And buying and selling racetracks and running racetracks is something that most people will never see, and they don't realize you just don't own it. You operate it. You take care of all the promotion, the hot dogs, the peanuts, taking in tickets and making sure everything's paid. Running the event, I mean, you were busy. You didn't have time to race.
Well, it's a 24/7 deal.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And of course, my family helped me, but it's being a promoter. They say the average life of a promoter is 3 years, and I stayed 25.
Wow,
Oh.
no kidding.
So anyway, it's a challenge. But everybody, if you've never tried it, Ronnie, he knows about it. Ronnie Brown over here, but you never tried it, you need to try it for a little while. You'll be a lot nicer.
Yeah.
To the next one.
How tough was it to keep the crowds coming?
Yeah, sir.
How tough was it to keep the crowds coming?
Now it's tough to keep them going. You can do the same. You can have a perfect race tonight and turn around and do the same thing next Saturday, and it doesn't mean it's going to work. But it was easier from 75 up until 90 or so because we had about the only show in town. But racing, I saw it's priced itself out for the racer and the average fellow that brings his kids and stuff, the people that support racing.
Yep.
And the price ticket's gotten so high, the time he goes and he buys his kids and they buy him a Coke, he can't stand it every Saturday night.
That's right.
Yeah, it's gotten out of hand on both sides. And as a promoter.
That's a hand.
There
That's
you
a
go.
good one.
Yeah.
Let's give it that.
Yeah.
We all have experienced that, and I'm a big Saturday night racer, and we'd get together and go somewhere. We'd drive 100 miles to see a race and drive back home.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, it was fun. So-and-so's racing here or there. And I think I mentioned last week Lanier Speedway in Brazelton, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Just down the road from what was Peach State. They were having their troubles, and I was looking at them one time, and I thought, hell, I'll own a racetrack. I like this. You know, I'll be out here all the time. I thought I was going to be somebody big. After I started looking at the books and went through this guy's books, I thought, you can't make any money. It's priced out, and then you got all the competition from NASCAR on certain Saturday nights. You can't sell anything on those. And the big deal is, at most of these racetracks, it's having something else going on. A school bus race, fireworks, you know, it's always, so you've got to get that going. And then you have a rain out.
Oh, yeah.
And you lose everything.
That's true.
The one I was looking at, basically it came down, you made your money on 1 or 2 races a year. If you had 1 or 2 rainouts more than you expect, you lost.
That's right. I had 14 one year.
Holy cow, is that right? How do you survive?
Here, let me get some dollars out here and give them to you.
We need money to get back home on.
So how do you handle that? I mean, that's you can't mess with Mother Nature for sure.
You know, it used to bother me to call a race. You know, you think everybody's looking, and it's, Louis shouldn't do that, he shouldn't do this. But, you know, I finally accepted that, you know, it's the act of God, and it is what it is.
Sure.
But rainouts, it depends on what part of the program. If you can get part of it in, then you can capitalize on a rainout, you know, the next time. But,
right.
But if it's a total rainout in the beginning, then it's tough. Talking about, you know, some of the things you said a while ago, when they used to put the Weather Channel come on, well, that was good, and they had racing that come on early. But then the Weather Channel, if they predict rain Saturday night,
oh jeez,
if it shows green, shut them up, boys, because they're not coming. They'll make their mind up on if they see that Monday or Tuesday it's gonna rain Saturday.
Yep.
You might as well forget it.
Yep.
Oh, you'll get enough, but you don't get enough to crack the nut. So,
yeah.
But anyway, that's the bad part of the Weather Channel deal.
I want to hear the flip side of the story.
Which one?
Well, when you quit owning a racetrack and doing something else, what did you do then?
Cried for a long time. But no, I stayed there until '99, and I was a builder by trade. I'd built some subdivisions prior to that. If you're a promoter, you got to have something else going on to support the promotion part of it. But anyway, I was a builder, and had built subdivisions. But when I shut it down, I went back into the mobile home part, refurbing them and buying them and reselling them. So that was my deal. But you got to do something.
Well, we got similar backgrounds because I became a land developer.
Oh, did you? Yeah, okay.
And a couple subdivisions came in there to get to that point. So.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you some subdivision stories.
Well, give me that $2 back I just handed you.
Well, this is a racing program. We won't get into subdivision. I went to subdivision briefly. I went to bed one night, richest man I thought in Brooks County, and woke up the next morning, the poorest fella in town. You know, that's the way it goes with that building and subdivision. But
Isn't that something? Now, did you have any trouble with local government there?
local what?
Local government?
Well, not until they got they started all the stuff and started getting a inspector for this and inspector for that and inspector. And finally, I can tell you a little story about that. They come out there in later years, and of course, some of the people in the county were against it. This fellow was actually a state inspector, so he come, and my bleachers had been there for a good while. He got to walk around. He said, "I tell you what," he said, "we're gonna need to get an engineer's drawing on these bleachers."
Oh, jeez.
And I looked at him. I said, "Man, are you crazy?" So, they'd been there working fine, structurally, all no problem. He said, "I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the fire marshal out here," and he said, "We're gonna get all this straight." And I said, "Well, that's good." So he got the fire marshal out there, and we met, and he said, "Mr. Radney, this is Mr. Hall, the fire marshal." So I shook hands with him, and we talked. The inspector left. Mr. Hall was my cousin.
Nice.
So that worked out. So that got me some more time. But, yeah, you have a lot of trouble with actually not the county, because we were all pretty good buddies, and that thing had been that long. But state people, state inspectors, fire inspectors, this one, that one.
Yeah.
And actually, in addition to what we were talking about a while ago, you got so much expense, and each inspector, there's money behind it. You got to do this. And finally, I told him at the end, and I got sued there again. And I said, "There's too many inspectors." I said, "I'll shut it down." And I did. And the only way I knew I wouldn't get back in it is we got bulldozers out there pretty quick and started tearing it down, because this, you know how it does.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
It's an addiction.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my story on that part of it.
I'll be darned. Well, how about the EPA? Did they give you a hard time being a dirt track?
No, never had any trouble with that. Now, at one time we went oil like they did over in Lake City and Brunswick.
Right.
And we clay, which is a different type. We went with the oil. When I went to sell the property, we had to get in there, but there was everything passed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess the oil went on down.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, that could have been a real problem.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you got out at the right time on that. That's the key.
Yeah, I did.
If you owned it today, I'd be giving you $2 more.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So when you first gave up the track, was it kind of hard to adjust to the new lifestyle?
I still dream about it.
Do you really?
I do. This is 2025. That's been 25. I would wake up and think something's wrong with the water truck, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do it, and just come out and just thank the Lord I was dreaming. But yeah, I dream about that thing all the time. And when you do something that long, naturally that's part of you.
Yep.
Now we still do. We actually got a Thunderbolt luncheon of a group of our fellows that we raced with. Not many of us left, but we got a lot of fans that were related to it, or maybe a car owner or something. We've got a luncheon that we do once a month. It's not unusual to have 50 folks at the luncheon. Yeah, we do it on the first Wednesday, and it's called the Thunderbolt luncheon. So we try to keep it going, and some of us got race cars. We still race a little bit. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a car that you ran down here on the beach, right?
Yeah, brought it down here last year and carried it around the beach. One of the best times I ever had. I tell these boys, if you've never been, you need to try it. It was, and this place here rolled out the carpet to us, fed us. Never been treated any finer. So we really enjoyed it.
Well, that's great. Well, we're glad to have you.
Yes, sir.
And what was that car? Because most of these people saw that.
It's a modified. It was red number 83.
It
was the prettiest car in the deal.
Of course.
Yeah. Just kidding.
And what was it? About a 32 Ford? 30
no, actually,
Ford?
that was a 29 Ford. I had a.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had a 32 Ford back in the day, and that was a real good car. So I kind of duplicated that, but I had a 29 body, And when we got through cutting it, we made it look as much like that one as we could.
Yeah.
But it turned out pretty sharp race car.
Is that what you call a Skeeter?
Skeeter. Well, some people call them Skeeter. I get offended by that Skeeter thing, but people call them Skeeter. You know, I said, no, we open wheel modified or modified. You know.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But yeah, a lot of people know them as Skeeter cars.
Yeah, they're so good looking.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And they got the wing on the top, and oh, man.
Yeah, that's racing to me. I just, I like late models, and I drove late models for years. I've run some other style cars, but that old modified, that Skeeter car you called it, it's just got the look, and that, to me, when I think about racing, that's racing.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right about it.
Yes, sir. Well, who are some of the hot dogs that you had back when you ran the track?
Well, let's see. You remember Harvey Jones, I'm
Oh,
sure a lot
sure.
of you do. Me and Harvey were big rivalries back in the day.
Is that right?
Yeah, and Harvey was, you know, he was one of the best. And I can tell you a little story. He asked me a while ago earlier about some stories, but me and Harvey were big rivalries. I can tell you some different stories. They did a film of us up there one time, made a movie. It's still around, but at one time it was called One for the Money, Two for the Show. So they paid 7 of us $50 and gave us film credits to bring our car. And this was in about 71 or 72. So we got the $50 and we went out to the track and carried our car. And me and Harvey, a bunch of us were running down the back straightaway in some hot laps. And I was right on Harvey's bumper, and people think that I hit him on purpose, but something happened to the car. Well, I hit him.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I know something happened to his car. It wasn't me. Anyway, he went through the wall and went out on the highway.
Oh,
when
my
they
gosh.
filming this thing from the air, it shows us hitting and Harvey going through the wall. So that was the start of the movie. But yeah, I was a movie star, so we got on, you know, and got $50 for being a movie star.
I'll be darned.
And let's see, later years. Now, don't let me know if I'm getting too deep in this. You know.
No, we got about a minute to go to our
One more
first
minute.
break.
That's gonna be a quick one.
Okay.
Talking about Harvey, us being big rivalries all the year. His wife Hazel. I don't know if any of y'all ever been around him. He knows him. I know some of them know him. She's still pretty good at. She taught sailor cussing for a long time, so she's pretty good at it. So she'd sit in this one spot up there, and she'd cuss you. I mean, it was ugly. So me and Harvey tied up one night, same thing, and Harvey's car went through the same area over there, so they stopped us on the front straightaway, and I was leading the race, and they stopped us, turned the red on, get out to look at the car and see if everything's okay, and I was walking around it. GD, MF, cheated. Right up there. And I'd been hearing that for years. I said, I'm sick of this. I walked down the straightaway. I walked in the pit gate where you go in the bleachers. I walked down there in front of where they was cussing me so bad. I said, if there's one of y'all up there want to whip my ass, I said, come on down here. This old big fella got up. He started walking down the water, and I said, Lord, I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to hit him just as hard as I can when he gets here. That old boy come walking down there to me, and he got almost to me, and he said, I'm with you, boy. Go ahead. I said, thank you, Lord.
Hey, that's great. We'll be right back with
That's a good
Louis
story.
Radney, everybody. Good stuff.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. At Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees, it's all about making you happy. Beach Boys Embroidery can customize your athletic golf apparel, caps, hats, badges, buttons, magnets, backpacks, bags, totes, clocks, watches, oh, and of course, T-shirts. Sure, they're at 2033 South Ridgewood Avenue in South Daytona, and they're waiting for you to call now. 386-255-5880. Beach Boys Embroidery and Tees. Let Aloha Marine get you on the water with huge discounts on great brands like Bayliner, Carolina Skiff, Hurricane, Key West, and Regal. Pay as little as $169 a month with 10% down and approved credit. Don't wait. Get to Aloha Marine, 1700 North Nova Road, Holly Hill, Monday through Saturday. 47 years and always better than boat show prices. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. We've got Rich Combs here today, and we got Louis Radney hearing some great stories about Southern Dirt Track racing. This segment's being brought to you locally by Staples on International Speedway Boulevard. Anything for the office. I mean, you name it, they can do it for you. And also, if you want to take a look at the show live, you can go to the Legends of Racing radio show page on YouTube, and then an hour later, it's on Facebook. So if you get home quick enough, you can check it out on Facebook, and we're there every week. So yeah, some of your hot dogs. Who were some of the big dogs there?
Well, let's see, Harvey. Of course, you know Sam McQuaig was prior to me.
Yep.
Eddie McDonald. I know if you probably know of Eddie.
Sure,
Eddie
Mr.
Mac
Eddie.
raced with us and was a very good friend of mine. He raced with us right on up until the end. Aubrey Holly, Marlon Huffmaster. But probably the biggest name that you'll remember would be Mr. McDonald and Harvey.
Yep.
And then of course Aubrey and
Yep.
there's been a lot of talent come through there through the years.
You mentioned Sam McQuaig. I read the weirdest story today about the Valdosta 75 Speedway. In 1965, they ran a Grand National race there, or a Cup race, and Cale Yarborough started 5th, but he missed the race because he got tied up because of bad weather in Charlotte, and he couldn't fly down. So Sam McQuaig drove the car for him, and they ran 25 laps, and they had to cut the race short because it was rain. So instead of picking up at the 25 laps, NASCAR went ahead and started the race from the start, and Cale got in the car. And normally, you know, in a case like that, Sam would have been the guy who won the race. Anyway, Cale won the race, and that was his first race
win.
His first win. And it would have been Sam's if they had done it the normal way, but they did it a different way, and they started from scratch.
Yeah.
So, but Sam was great man.
Yeah, he was good fella. His son, both of his sons, still continue to come down to the luncheon and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, sure
be
do.
darned.
Sam Jr. and I can't remember the other boy's name, but they still come down and support the deal. And Sam's wife is still living.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah, we'll have a reunion along, and she comes from time to time. But
really? Yeah. Sam won the first race with a rear spoiler.
Yeah. Well, down here in Daytona, you talking about?
Yeah.
That's right. What was that? 60. What was that?
66.
66.
Yep. Yeah, they put a little spoiler on the back of the Chargers because the rear end was lifting up.
Yeah.
And that was the first time anybody ever won with a rear spoiler.
Yeah, Sam had Ms. Lily as a sponsor out of Valdosta, Georgia,
That's
and
right.
then Langdale Ford.
Yeah.
Langdale Ford.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, if you see those little replicas, they've got the
Yeah.
Langdale and the Ms. Lily car owner. But
yeah, Miss Lily owned the car.
yeah, she liked old Sam and put him in the spotlight. But
Yeah,
Sam had a lot of talent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was a good boy.
Yeah, he was.
Well, the funny thing on that, I hadn't heard anybody mention Langdale Ford in a long time, but you know, in the older days, you saw all the ads, and they stayed the same week to week, year to year, really, and you got to know what the car was, and so you could picture it in your mind. And if you're going up 75 back to Atlanta, somewhere up along in there, there's a billboard that says Langdale Ford on it. And every time I see it, I
Still
see
the
a race
same.
car.
That's right. Still the same old location, same deal.
No
So,
kidding.
Yeah.
Of course, that's one of the wealthiest families, you know, in that part of the country.
Oh, is it?
Langdale, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Miss Lily, she had some pretty good money too, I believe, didn't she?
Ms. Lily had the correct change.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, she was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, she was in a wheelchair. Yeah.
And she was a lady car owner,
That's right.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
In fact, the only female car owner that ever won a race was a lady named Reynolds, and she was no relation to R.J. Reynolds. She was related to a senator up in North Carolina, and Fred Lorenzo won a race with her, and she's to this day the only female car owner to have won a race.
Yeah.
And she was only 18 years old. She was still in high school,
Huh.
and her daddy got her a little something to play with.
Ms. Lily's son, Steve, raced with us later. Steve's still around.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
That's,
He didn't race much, but he raced with us in the open wheel modified class.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty neat. Yeah, so you had no problem with the EPA. You didn't.
No. Like I said, the only problem, the biggest fella I didn't like was that Georgia racetrack inspector. But
Yeah.
he's still on top of my list.
He like to give you a hard time.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Lord.
He's one of those kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you raced at your speedway, didn't you?
Yeah, I
before you
raced.
took it over?
Yeah, I raced for many years. Daddy started out. I'll back up to that. He started out in '59, back when it had to be the rules read if it was we ran up through a 53. If you had a 53 Ford, it had to have a Ford motor. If it's 53 Chevrolet, it had a Chevrolet motor.
Right.
And of course, we started out with a pair of vice grips and a service station and building the old cars, and got out there and raced and had a lot of fun. But here come Harvey and here come Sam and they were in a different area code.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, you go through that. I remember Daddy changing when Buick had a V8 in 1953. So he went and got a Buick body and had the first Buick that ever run out there.
Really?
Fast down the straightaway, but it just wouldn't turn left.
Yeah.
But he had plenty of horsepower. But Daddy had the first Buick that was built. And so when I got drafted in the Army in 1968 and got out in 70, and I was riding back. I'd come from Fort Benning down through Albany.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw a car sitting over there. It was an orange number 24 that Aubrey had driven that I was just speaking of. And I saw that car and kept looking at it, and I was getting short on getting out of the Army, and I had gotten me a service station on 75, if you can believe that story. So I commuted from Fort Benning to Valdosta, 164 miles for about 9 months from my station. How I did it, I don't know. But anyway, I saw that car. I said, I'm going to get that car. So I stopped and asked the man, would y'all want to sell that car? He said, yeah, we'll sell it. And he gave me a price. I said, I'll take it. So I took that car and started racing in May of 1970 when I got out of the Army. And we raced. Of course, we had a lot of wrecks and had a lot of fun. But in a year or so, well, let me say this, not bragging, but I won the first heat race that I ever raced in.
Really?
The reason I won it, I missed Joe Ramsey. He was an old-time racer and raced a long time. I don't know but Joe, he knew it all. So we started the heat race, and the rules back then, when you go down the front straightaway to cut the caution light out, you got from that point around the turn forward to refire. If you don't, the flagman starts you.
Yep.
So we come around. I was leading that heat race. Of course, it was a slow heat, but Joe was in the slow heat with John Thorne. You know Thorne.
Yeah, I remember
it was
John.
John Thorne's car. Me and John were good buddies.
Yep.
John was down here at Daytona. You know, he had the, he was high pockets. So
yes.
So he was another one correct change. But anyway, Joe was driving his car. And he was going to make me look bad because I was a little rookie and that kind of thing. So I was leading the race. We had a restart. So we come down the front straight, cut the lights out. We go down the back straightaway, and I took off and fired. Well, Joe was in second. Joe wouldn't fire.
Oh.
We come on around, the flagman give us the green, which is all he could do. He give us the green, so Joe was holding them back, so I won the first race I ever entered, thanks to Joe.
Beautiful. Oh, that's great.
But that's a true story.
Yeah.
And then we, continued to race. I learned a lot about racing, had a lot of good friends, still got a lot of good friends, won a lot of races, and we set a lot of track records, and we were very competitive in Valdosta. I had it down to a science on the sportsman cars.
Yep.
And then we built some late models, Chevelles and that kind of thing, and grew up building those kind of cars and racing them. Got some bad. I broke my back one time.
Oh, Lord.
But I broke it in a Skeeter car, and so I stayed in the hospital. They put me a body cast on, and, of course, I got the cast off, had on a little temporary cast, and drove another fella's car, and the steering broke, and I broke my back again just above where I'd broken it before.
Holy cow.
But anyway, I get away from my story. So we run the late models. I got burned real bad. We used to run electric fuel pumps on the car.
Oh, yeah.
And the fuel line goes through the frame, and me and a tough competitor back, Larry Benton, with the Dean Oil Jerry Dormany car. That was another high-dollar folk. Anyway, we went together on the front straightaway, and I hit the bank under the flag, and the frame broke. Well, the fuel line's in the frame, and that electric pump is just. But it covered me, and that's before we wore uniform. You just get him your best T-shirt and go racing. So anyway, it burned all the hair and burned me, and I stayed in the hospital a long time with skin grafts. But,
oh my gosh!
So I've had some, I broke my back, and I've been burnt pretty bad through it.
Yep.
But we continued to race. We quit. We done away with the modified cars in about 85, 86 as far as running them full time. And I went to North, a lot of you know C.J. Rayburn. We went up there in Indiana.
Yeah.
I went up there and bought the first Rayburn car and brought it down this part of the country. And that started, of course, some of the builders around there started copying them. But, Rayburn had that thing on a string for a long time, and
yes,
we'd
sir.
go racing with it, and it was just, wasn't any problem. You'd gone. But so we continued to do that right on up until I see we ran in the 90s. We got a group of us. Am I talking too much now? Let me know.
No, we got about another minute.
Oh, one more minute.
Yeah,
so,
1 more minute.
So anyway, we still got a group of fellas. We built some modifieds, and we still got them just like we did back in the day. And we run a few times a year, and on special races. And it's not as much fun as it used to be, and it's a lot more work than it used to be. But we still race 2 or 3 times a year, and I get more thrill out of it walking up there and just rubbing the old car, I get back to Harvey. How much time we got? Just a little bit?
We're time to go.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Louis Radney, and we'll hear about Harvey Jones. And we've got Tony.
Hey, see.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Racing's original North Turn is our broadcast headquarters. If you're looking for a good drink, great entertainment, and the best in food, they're right on the beach at Racing's original North Turn. Come on down to dinner tonight. Here are a couple of testimonials. These are actual testimonials from people who have enjoyed the North Turn. Been there many times, always great food and drinks, great location on the beach. And another, what a great experience. It's my new favorite restaurant in the Daytona Beach area, Racing's Original North Turn on South Atlantic Avenue. That's A1A in Ponce Inlet, about 3.2 miles south of the Dunlawton Bridge and A1A intersection. It's Racing's Original North Turn, a restaurant, museum, bar, gift shop, live music. That's Racing's North Turn. Racing's Original North Turn has been voted by you Best Beach Bar Top 10 year after year after year. We're back from where it all began. Racing's Original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Appreciate that so very much. And we've got Rich Combs here, and we've got Louis Radney. And this segment's being brought to you locally by Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, voted one of the top 5 markets in the country by USA Weekend. Visit our Shop Now network and our Shop Now at the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market Facebook page for the latest in vendor tours. And we've got Tony. He always has a very insightful question every week. Hey, Tony.
But before we get started, everybody knows Tony. He always comes in every week. He's done his research. He probably knows your Social Security number and what size shoes you got. He'll be asking you a question.
Okay.
But I think I got a little something here. Tony and Doris are expecting.
Oh, really?
Yes, they are. And today's their delivery date.
Oh, my.
Yes. Tony has made a deal with Ford Motor Company to have them to build a Bilstrop Bronco for Mexican road racing. You've seen the red, white, and blue. Mm-hmm. Well, Tony's got a deal with them, and they're making it today. Am I right, Tony?
Hot dog.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Very good. When's the expected date of arrival?
Well, that's another question. And that word expecting is probably not the word to use. Louis, is one veteran to another, salute first.
Yes, sir.
When you drove, were you on dirt?
Yeah.
Did you groove your own tires?
Oh, yeah.
What's the science behind that?
Really, in our life, to make the tire softer, it really softens it. And in the end, we wasn't really grooving like cutting them out. We would take just the blade and cut them, which softens the tire way up. But that's it. It gives you a little traction, and it makes the rubber softer. Of course, there's all kind of tricks now to making rubber softer and whatnot. But we'd take the blade and cut it up, and that's kind of thing. But to give you more traction, to answer your question.
As a promoter or as a track operator, I guess softening tires was a little different. Did you run into folks doing that?
Oh, yeah.
How did you tell?
Well, that got to be an issue as years went on. What we started doing as a promoter in the track, I got my own track tire. I got with Hoosier, McCrary at one time, I got with Hoosier. so we had our track tire, and we branded the track tire. And so that's the way, and then also we could lower the price of the tires by having our track tire. But that's the way we controlled it somewhat. They still, still cheater tricks on it, but that was our control on it, on that deal. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, appreciate that, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Hey, Tony's always got a good one, that's for sure. Hey, you mentioned John Thorne. What an interesting fellow he was. His father, Joel Thorne, had inherited a whole ton of money as a young man.
That's right.
And he set out to do Indianapolis. He drove Indy a few times, Joel Thorne. And at one year, he tried to buy every car in the field so he would have a winner. And AAA didn't go for that too much. But Bill France Sr. was on his pit crew. And he flew into a bunch of apartments in 1955 at Beverly Hills and was killed. So John inherited all that money.
That's right.
And John was just a really neat guy. He had Leroy Yarborough drive for him.
That's right.
That beautiful purple Charger. And Donnie Allison drove for him.
Yeah.
And just a neat guy. I would like to have met him. He died way too young.
Yeah. John married an eager there in Valdosta. No, John's mama was an eager there in Valdosta.
Oh, really?
I've been in their place because John and I were good buddies when he was coming up. They got a huge mansion there up on Eager Road, the Eager subdivision. That room's got like 14-foot ceilings.
Oh, my gosh.
There's one room in there full of John's daddy's trophies.
Really?
I'm talking about still to this day as far as I know.
Cow.
But he wasn't in just the cars. He had trophies of race, airplane, you name it. Boat. He was, of course, he had.
Oh, yeah.
Had plenty of money.
He had the money.
And John, inherited that, like you said, and he'd get so much along and along. But he built an empire there on the south end of Valdosta and hired some of the best and put them down there with those cars. When he'd load his race cars up, he actually had like a car hauler for back in the day that oh yeah, 5 or 6 cars. So,
holy cow.
Oh yeah. But now John was a heck of a good old fella, and we were good buddies. But now he was a hellion too.
Was he really?
Oh yeah, yeah. He had a hopped up car back in the day, and he'd outrun them from all the little towns around. And the theater was letting out in Valdosta, and that's the only way they caught him. The theater was letting out, and so he got caught in the traffic. But he was outrunning the radios, outrunning them all. But that was John. But he got killed. John's been dead since maybe 88 or 9.
Really?
Yeah, he was coming down to Jacksonville to a meeting, and of all the wrecks and all the stuff that he'd ever been in, his girlfriend was driving at the time back through Fargo, and she went to sleep and run off the road. And those steep things, and it broke John. He was asleep in the passenger seat, and it broke his neck and killed him. But he'd been in all kind of wrecks, and had been in all kind of stuff. But John, that was John, super good fella.
He wasn't very old either, was he?
No. Let's see, how old John? At this time, I'm 77. John was a little bit, I would say, he's 80, 2 or 3 years older.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. But he wasn't, John's been dead, like I said, what's that, 35, 88 or 89 happened,
Yeah, very interesting fella. And I often wondered how he ended up in Valdosta, but it was because of his mother's family, wasn't
it? That's right. They're from Valdosta, yeah. Now, a while ago, I want to bring this, I just thought about it. When they ask about some of the big names, all those boys was raced with, I consider them big names, but there was some like Jimmy Murphy, Ronnie Lupo. I could go on and on. I mean, a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Some made it to the top, and some got more publicity than others. But I said all that to say this: I don't want to sell anybody short because there's a lot of talent, a lot of good buddies out there, and they were. In my book, they were all good.
Yeah,
so,
Cecil Eunice.
Cecil Eunice.
He got into the Busch Series for a while.
Oh, yeah, Cecil was super good. I raced with Cecil in Waycross some. I raced with him in Lake City. Y'all had Dickie Ferry on here a couple of weeks ago. All of us used to race. If we didn't race in Valdosta, we'd go to Lake City, we'd go to Brunswick, and I raced in Jacksonville some. And so anyway, yeah, there's a lot of talent if you get to looking around.
Yes, sir. That's for sure.
Like I say, some get noticed and some don't. But but anyway, I don't want to sell any of them short. They were all good as far as I'm concerned. If you won on Saturday night, you had accomplished something.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's the way you want it to be.
Yeah. I was going to tell this story a while ago before we cut us off.
We got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. That's a quick one. You're talking about a lot of you fellas are my age, 77 up in there, and you know how it goes when you get a little bit older. But Harvey and Hazel, of course, Hazel's still living, still cussing, still doing. She comes to the luncheon along and along. But they said Harvey got to where when him and Hazel would get in the bed, right along, they come out with some of those Brodix racing heads. They were fine heads at the time.
Sure.
Harvey bought a set of them and put under his bed.
Yeah.
So when he'd get in the bed with Hazel, he'd reach down there and rub them heads and
Yeah.
get turned on. so you might want to get you a set of Brodix heads. I don't know if they still work or not, but it worked for Harvey.
That's a hint to Tony.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. You got to rub that Bronco every night before you go to bed.
Yeah. Anyway, it worked for Harvey. Maybe it'll work for you. I don't know if you find Brodix heads.
That's great.
Of course, you got to look at Hazel, too. Depends on what you're working with, I guess.
Well, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be right back with Louis Radney. What great stories.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Daytona Flea and Farmers Market is still the one for great savings and the best variety. Whether you need flowers and trees for your home or you're looking for great prices on Daytona Beach souvenirs, the market is the place to go. The market features 1,000 booths, 2 air-conditioned malls, a restaurant, and 9 snack shacks. Hops Grill features gourmet burgers and garden blend salads. Treat yourself to a great variety of brat and hot dog creations at the Dog House, or enjoy a refreshing drink at the Seltzer Oasis. The market is open every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and is 90% undercover, so you can shop rain or shine. There's never a charge for parking or admission. Enjoy our monthly classic car cruise-in on the first Saturday of every month, and garage sale weekend, the third weekend of every month. See all we have to offer at DaytonaFleaMarket.com or like us on Facebook. Discover Daytona's most unique shopping experience, the Daytona Flea and Farmers Market, just a mile west of the Speedway. We're back from where it all began, racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
Thank you, everybody. We're here with Rich Combs, Louis Radney, and this segment is being brought to you by Homewood Suites by Hilton over on Bill France Boulevard, right around the corner from the Speedway. And they got free happy hour and free breakfast, and every room's a suite, and it's a real nice place. So think about the Homewood Suites by Hilton. And, man, is it good to have Larry back. Hey, Larry.
Yeah, Larry. Well,
Hey, Louis, it's a pleasure to have you. Whoops.
That's all right. One of the things that Buzz and I do is when we bring racers on and they say they're a South Georgia racer, because everybody wants to be one of those.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
You use that. So we run a little test on you to see if you're really a South Georgia racer.
Okay.
And I'm willing to go ahead and certify you right now as being a South Georgia racer. You want to know why?
No, sir.
Well, when you were talking,
Yeah, I want to know why.
well, in Georgia, there's a little city there called Albany.
Yeah.
And he was going back and forth from Valdosta to Albany, but did you hear what he said? Albany.
Albany.
Only you got to be South Georgia to say that.
Exactly.
That's the only place I ever had to spend a night in jail was Albany, Georgia.
My wife went to college there.
Bless her
They
heart.
called it Albany.
Albany.
Yeah.
I got me some schooling that night at the college I went to.
What you got, Larry?
Hey, Louis, welcome to the show, and
Thank
happy
you,
you're
sir.
here, man. You're very funny, and I like listening to your stories. I grew up in the Midwest, so I watched a lot of guys race up there that became pretty famous in later life. Junior Hanley and Joy Fair and some of those guys that I really feel fortunate to be able to watch them. Even Johnny Benson made it to the show. But you said earlier that you drove number 83. Was there any significance to your number?
Well, I can tell you there is. Originally, I had a great friend. His daddy was a car builder. You know, we'd been doing our own cars. So his daddy was very good at building cars. He actually had 83. So we got to be good buddies, pitted by one another. And anyway, we were at the racetrack there one night, and I was still fighting, trying to learn how to do a car. And he said, I want to sell you this car. I said, well, let me go make a lap in it. And I went out there and made a lap in it, and oh Lord, I didn't know. I didn't know what a race car was supposed to feel like. And I made that lap, and I bought the car on the spot. And I don't remember I either won the race that night or run second in that car. So there was. I could tie it back. I got married. Let's see how that thing worked. You know, we had a lot of shotgun weddings back in the day.
Yes,
and
sir.
So that was kind of my situation. And I married a lady there in Brooks County that was upper crust, way above, out of my area, out of my league. So their mama, they kind of covered it up a little bit. So we got married in August, but they put it in the paper that we eloped in February the 3rd. So you can take the 8 and the 3, and so you can put that to it, and that is a true story.
That's good thinking. I like that.
Anyway, that when you do that and back it up and say, they were covering their stuff, they were big in the church and all that, and I understood it, and I went along with the plan. But if you build a house and don't put a good foundation, it just doesn't work. So we stayed together a long time and got 2 kids, but that's the '83 story.
That's really cool, man. I like hearing that.
That's a good
I
one.
have one other statement to make. You made a statement about NASCAR kind of like pricing themselves out. I want to tell you.
Not just NASCAR.
Yeah, racing. Yes, I get that. When I was young, though, we had tickets at MIS, and they were $35. We sat at the highest row of the $35 seats. When they tore that grandstand down and I had to buy my tickets the next year, they were $96.
Oh, Lord.
So that's what happened to racing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, see, the promoter, I said a while ago, that thing, it hurts the racer. Everybody out here wants to race if you can race cheap enough. Want to go, and then it's a promoter, but one thing leads to another, and it's priced itself out. It's not good.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, Larry. Appreciate that. Yeah, what did you get for admission when you were running the race track?
Well, let's see. We used to let them in free up to 12 years old, and I believe we were charging $5. Then we went to $6, and I was telling somebody earlier we still got a price of the concession, a hamburger, $1.
Oh my gosh!
But like I said, that was back in the day. That was in '75. But at the end of those things, we got to charging 35 or 25 on a regular race for the pit entrance.
Right.
And we were up at $12 or so for general admission. Now that was in '99.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but it's crazy now.
Yeah.
You talked about some of the big dogs. I got in on the Have a Tampa series.
Oh yeah,
boy.
When it first started.
Yeah.
They put it together on phone and called me, and we got in that deal. Scott Bloomquist, different ones.
Oh boy.
But anyway, when that thing, I remember, started out, it was an $18,000 purse, and they came down here to Valdosta, and I had to have a cashier's check up front for the purse when you get there, because promoters and racetracks. I never was one of those, but anyway, so that thing started out. I said, Lord have mercy, this is the ticket, because like you said a while ago, they come in there, we made some big money. I remember putting $40,000 in a box, putting it in the freezer.
Dang.
If I had $40,000, Lord have mercy. I said, specials is where it's at. But anyway, we raced with Have a Tampa, and the last one I had got up in the 90 range, 89 or 90 for their part. And my track, if everything was perfect and everybody bought a seat and you filled up the pits and done it, that was iffy on that deal. But if you had a little shower or something, but anyway, we had that thing, was going to have it the road to Daytona, I think, was when that big purse was. Maybe, we come up with the turkey shootout race. We did a road to Daytona, the Hangover 100 on New Year's. So we come up with those. That got to be my special. But anyway, I worried for about 2 months. I couldn't sleep. I said, $90,000. Well, you add the other stuff to it, and you up there at 110, 112, and all that stuff. But anyway, we had that last one, and I broke out of that joker, and I made just a few dollars. That's it.
That's it. Yep.
So Have a Tampa priced itself out, and it was good for a long time, but it's got to be, everything got to be perfect, and you got to charge a lot of money to get in and a lot of money to get in the pits.
You hope the weather's going to hold.
Yeah. Now, Bloomquist, of course, we had a lot of Bill Fry going on, and Jack Boggs, a lot of those boys raced there with us. And Bloomquist one year, we were paying 10 to win. I paid him one year $40,000. He won 4 races
Oh,
pretty
my
quick.
gosh.
So I paid him, and he liked me because I used to just pay him in cash.
Yeah.
I didn't send him no 1099. So Bloomquist liked to, all them boys like to come down there because of what, you get the money, put it in your pocket, and go home. But,
Oh, yeah. Did you know Jimmy Mosteller?
oh, Mr. Mosteller.
Oh, wasn't he something, huh?
Oh, yeah, I love Mr. Mosteller. He's one, that, one of the original Have a Tampa fellas, smoked his little cigar and worked at Have a Tampa place in Valdosta. But that's where the Have a Tampa thing got started with him and the people in above Atlanta up there at the track. But anyway, yeah, I knew Mr. Mosteller.
He was quite a character.
He was a character.
Oh,
man,
we loved him. Hey, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll be right back with Louis Radney, everybody.
The caution flag is out. Time for a break. We'll be right back with the Legends of Racing radio show. Welcome to Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. You're right in the middle of all the action. Daytona International Speedway, the airport, One Daytona, Florida's newest entertainment and retail destination, and of course, the world's most famous beach. You'll love our newly remodeled 1 and 2 bedroom suites, along with our popular King Studios. You won't need your full kitchen, as Homewood Suites Daytona serves up complimentary breakfast and evening social. It's like home away from home. Go to HomewoodDaytona.com for Homewood Suites by Hilton in Daytona Beach. We're back from where it all began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. The Legends of Racing radio show continues with your host, Buzz McKim.
And Rich Combs. Thank you, everybody. And, remember, if you want to check out the show and check it out live, go to the Legends of Racing radio show YouTube. And if you want to watch it an hour later, we'll post it to the Legends of Racing radio show Facebook page. So, you, I imagine each one of those NDRA races were kind of scary, weren't they?
Well, that was the Have a Tampa. Now, we were involved in the NBRA, the NDRA. NDRA. So we were involved in that, but those things, they didn't get scary till the end when that purse, it jumped from 18, we went to 25, 35, 50.
Wow.
Like I said, 89, it priced a little man out, and eventually, it kind of died out.
Yeah.
So.
Could you draw a pretty good crowd?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you can have a Have a Tampa race. They bring enough fellas, and they had enough following, and the price wasn't, it didn't matter what the price was.
Right.
They put on a good show. No arguing, no fussing, no fighting on Saturday.
Nice.
On Saturday night, if you don't learn how to fight, you're in trouble.
That's Southern Georgia racing right there.
There it is.
Well, the way they used to describe it up there at the racetrack, the old boy said he went to the fights one night and the race broke out. So that's the way it was. But anyway, no, those fellas come, they first class, no problem, and bring the car, they'll help you promote and that kind of thing. So it worked out, but it's different.
Well,
But no, I didn't worry about it up until the end because, you made a little change off of them.
Yeah, sure.
So did you ever run with the Southern All-Stars? They had a...
Mr. Parker ran the Southern All-Star, B.J. Parker.
Okay.
So B.J., he's the man I had to hand that cashier's check to. He was their honcho to start with.
Okay.
He taught them the ropes because Mr. B.J. was pretty sharp. And these other fellas had to have a Tampa backing, but no, Mr. Parker so I knew him well. He was a good fella.
Well, I followed that series for a long time. If they were anywhere close to where I was, I would go because the racing was spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Heck, yeah. Mike Hibbs was one of their men. Mike, of course, Mike's dead now, but he'd come down there and race with us. But Mr. Parker, I knew him well. Good fella. Good promoter.
Yeah, nobody's doing that sort of thing anymore, are they?
Well, they're kind of backing off because I keep saying expense, but it's hard to go racing now and for the cost factor. Now, you can find somebody, he runs up on a new millionaire that he wants to do something.
Yeah.
They'll run good till the money runs out, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them money doesn't run out, but they fail to take the smart pill or whatever, but they'll just continue to feed it. But it's expensive to go racing today if you want to run up front.
Oh, buddy, and in any form of racing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what.
And as a promoter through the years, we would go back and change the rules because you'd see it getting out of hand. So I'd take an old motor rule we had back on and come back and make that the new deal. So because there's plenty of them, we can get this and get that. Well, you got an aftermarket man that'll make something to put on the market to make it faster. He gets one, you got to get one, I got to get one, and that thing just goes right. So you get back, so you got to cut it again and start over. So they're not trying to cut it back as much as they used to, but it's just gotten out of hand. It's just different. And dirt tracking, to me, as a dirt racer and going up in it and loving it, I'm not up on the slide deal. You know, it's a slide. I like to go turn left and come back and do that. But that sliding thing that them boys do, you know, they got the rear end walking and stuff. I got a little taste of that. But anyway, it doesn't ring my bell like it used to. But,
now, was it tough on Saturday nights when NASCAR would have a cup race?
Oh, yeah. It used to be good like the thing, but if they, you know, Sunday would help us, but if they had one on Saturday night, it was almost like a rain out.
No kidding.
Well, we could tune it in on the PA system and let them listen to it, and we'd do that, but you could tell it hurt. It wasn't as bad as a rain out, but it did hurt. And it used to help us, but as that thing got stronger, it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Well, TV got so much better. That's the whole thing.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. And
that's true.
A man with his wife and two kids wanting to go to races are going to lay down $100 minimum to get in there and have a hot dog. They can stay home, watch NASCAR. It's in front of them. You can back it up and look at it, and they'll re-show it.
And that's
it's a big saving. I mean, it's hard to fight that.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
you know, getting back to the expense, back in the early 85 or so, I got into a spec racing series through SCCA where everybody had to have the same engine, and the engine came out of a house and it came with a tag on it, and you know, the whole bit. And it wasn't this was not rich guys, but we had a guy in Texas who was a oil driller, and he did a wildcat thing on wells that had been closed, some new technology, and he was pumping oil out of the ground like crazy, and he was racing in our series. And he wasn't that good a racer, but he wasn't that bad. You know, he was another racer, but he always had powerful cars. And I'm talking to him one day, and I'm saying, how in the world, what are you doing to your car? Because I thought he was cheating.
Yeah.
He says, well, they sell those engines to you. He says, not every one of those engines dyno out the same. He says, so I buy 10 at a time.
Oh, Lord.
And he says, when they come to me, I look at the tags, I pick them, and he says, we'll run a couple of them on the dyno. I'll keep one or two for me, and then when I go to track, I'll sell it to all the guys that blow their end. So he was making money on one end and getting the best engine. So, you know, it's hard to fight that.
There's still a lot of those out there that can do that and do that kind of thing, and it's hurt. I've just noticed you talked about my car number 83 a while ago. It's 1256, but what's the temperature?
83 degrees.
83.
Right. How about that? Yeah.
Got to be a good day.
It goes with you,
Boy, if I used to get up on Saturday morning and go somewhere, and I'd go in and buy a loaf of bread or something, and they'd say $1.83. Don't mess with me Saturday night, but it was on.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
You know, you should write a book. I mean, it'd be a hell of a book. You know,
I've been approached and about it seriously, different ones a couple of times, but and you say you ought to sit down and do it, but it's hard to sit down and do it. I think I need to be doing something.
And you're not going to make any money from it, I can tell you, but you can promote the hell out of yourself.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Particularly when you get in the financial game. You write a book, and then when you go in to talk to your customer, hey, here's one of my books. I'm going to give this to you, and he signs it off.
Yeah, there you go.
that book's no good. You know, he just bought you. That's how that works. But with that being said, I'd love to be in a book with you. You and I.
If I do it, I'm gonna put you in the book.
We'd be on the cover.
You too, bud.
Hey, I appreciate
I'm
that,
gonna
Louis.
put Ronnie Brown in there too.
Oh yeah, the two of you together on the cover. That'd be beautiful.
Hey,
wouldn't it?
boy, we got some stories now. I'm telling you.
Oh, this guy. Oh.
Yeah,
Well, we've got some folks we got to say thank you to. We got Danny over there on the board doing everything just right.
Danny.
Yeah, everything's perfect. And we've got Mad Mike with the applause sign, and it's so good to see Brother Louie. No, that's Louie.
Hey.
Brother Joe back there with
Joe.
Jorge. Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Good to see you there, buddy. And Larry and Mike and that guy Tony over there. We appreciate the questions. And so good to see Wolfgang again. And this is a great show there. This guy here is a certified driver instructor with Porsche.
Who is this?
Wolfgang right there with the head. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, Mr. Porsche. Yeah, but you'd never get him on a dirt track, though, would you?
I'd like to.
Yeah.
Good player.
That'd be pretty good. Well, this has been great.
I like the slide in dirt.
You do?
Yeah. I love it when they used to call them high, wide, and handsome.
Yeah.
I've told my wife overall, I said, when I die and they put something on my gravestone, put high, wide, and handsome.
Well, I'll tell you what we used to say about that sliding. You go faster when you go straight. And there's a lot of sliding we used to slide somewhat, but the new deal, it's a slide all the way
that's
around
for sure.
pretty much.
Yep. Well, we thank everybody for being here today. We're going to have another show next week. We hope. I don't think it'll be a problem. We're going to have another show next week, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Darn right. And we hope everybody is still there. And come on back and see what we're up to. And everyone out there, please tune in. And we thank you so much for making us part of your day.
Hey, I want to thank y'all for having me.
Oh, man, it was our honor.
Yes, sir.
Fun.
All righty. We'll see you next week, everybody.
The Legends of Racing radio show originates live from the very spot where beach racing began. Racing's original North Turn Beach Bar and Grill. Join us next time for the Legends